G'day, you're watching Outsiders. Can I still say g'day? How long before the baying lynch mobs of feral neo-Marxists currently destroying our nation decide that g'day, the classic Aussie greeting, has to be purged from our language because it reeks of white privilege and racism and sexism and homophobia? Think I'm joking? Think I'm exaggerating? A week ago I would have thought maybe you were right, but not anymore. There is a war being waged against our culture and it is entering a decisive moment. Make no mistake, the same people who want to destroy our economy also want to destroy our culture, and vice versa. From today, you either support and approve of the tyranny of political correctness or you do not. You either stand for the right of every Australian, regardless of skin colour, race, creed or sex, to choose what they find funny, to choose what they want to laugh at, to choose what jokes they can crack, to choose what TV shows they can watch, to choose what music they listen to, what films they go to, what comedians they laugh at, or you do not. You either choose freedom or you choose the censorship of the hard left. You either choose choice or you choose for the hard left to make the choices for you. This is no longer some academic debate, as if Australian academia capitulated many years ago to the tyranny of the closed mind. This is no longer a question of being understanding and not wanting to cause undue offence, being reasonable, being thoughtful. As of this week, the hard left has declared war on you, your tastes, your sense of humour, your history, your idols, your culture. What are you going to do? Shrug and accept it? Cringe in fear? Meekly stand by as people's lives and careers are destroyed? This week, Gone with the Wind, Little Britain, Fawlty Towers, Chris Lilley, Jonah. Next week, once the purging starts, it's very hard to stop it. For those people who didn't have kids at school during the aptly named noughties, Summer Heights High was the defining comedy series of a generation, in my opinion. Written by Chris Lilley, it focused on a series of school kids at a public high school in the western suburbs, with some of the main characters played by Chris Lilley himself, such as the arts teacher, Mr G, drama teacher, the North Shore princess, Jemai King, whom Lilley portrayed through skillful character acting, built on strong insights and superb writing, and yes, with the help of standard theatrical makeups, wigs, and so on, to add to the illusion. It's called acting, being creative, making people laugh, and it's been a pretty noble profession for centuries. Lilley has done much the same in previous shows, and after Summer Heights High, he went and invented many other characters. But much as John Cleese will always be defined by Basil Fawlty, for me, Chris Lilley's greatest creation will always be the naughty, disruptive, unruly, unkempt, ADHD, Tongan schoolboy with the heart of gold, Jonah.
They don't even know that I'm just trying to make things more fun and more interactive. Kids in the class don't even care because they're doing their work and they're concentrating and it's boring, and all of a sudden they get a joke and they just get a little break from their work and they get to laugh. So that's not, if that's being disruptive, then f*** you. That's not disruptive, that's entertainment.
It's entertainment. Now, as with all Lilley's characters, they are always recognisably Chris Lilley. But so talented is this performer and writer that you are completely drawn in. Jonah was Jonah, pure and simple. I can assure you plenty of equally naughty school kids looked up to him, envied him, admired him. And the reason the show was so successful is because it not only entertained us, but it shone a light on the truth. And in the case of Jonah, the moral of his story was unmistakable. From a broken home with many disadvantages, Jonah could go one of two ways in life. But his teachers and his headmaster saw something special in him and persevered. And sure enough, despite all the jokes and all the mucking up and the bad language, Jonah had an inner morality and a yearning to prove himself to be somebody. He even drew up his own code of behaviour, a contract with himself, with hilarious results.
I have to do all the work required in class and respect all teachers. I like what you're wearing, miss. Looks nice on you. Is that from
Jonah,
Suzanne's?
What did your contract say about talking in class?
It gives him a boundary. See, he knows when he stepped outside of the rules because he made the rules.
Jonah, cap off. Ball's on the ground now.
Okay, miss?
What are you doing?
You said put my
Get
balls
up
on the
off the
ground.
ground. Get off
my
the
balls
ground.
are on the ground, miss. Look.
Get up.
Great art and great comedy should always give us insights about ourselves, about humanity, about life. In Jonah's case, one of his teachers was determined to ensure that he succeed through reading books. And so he did. And in one of the most poignant scenes towards the end of the series, before returning to Tonga, Jonah showed his gratitude in his own unique way.
Said Mrs. Palmer, who is mad. And I am fully grateful for her for wasting her time with me. Now I can read. And in Tonga, I will read books every day. The end.
Last week, Netflix dumped not only the entire Summer Heights High series, but also 3 other shows of Chris Lilley's. Why? Because in order to portray Jonah and some other characters, Lilley changed his own skin tone with makeup. Now, I completely understand why African Americans find the history of blackface abhorrent. But that doesn't mean that anyone who applies makeup to lighten or darken their skin is a racist. And I understand why Jews find cartoons with stereotyped hook-nosed moneylenders and so on completely unacceptable. It doesn't mean we ban all cartoons. What it does mean is that artists are right to be concerned about the context and the literal meaning of their work when dealing with difficult issues. That's the lesson of the past, not that any comedian wearing makeup is automatically a racist and any show where an actor plays someone of a different race is inherently evil. That is simply absurd and idiotic. And destroying or banning works of art and literature does not alter or improve what happened in the past. It just makes it harder for people in the present to learn from that past. Whether it was Savonarola in Renaissance Florence, or the purges of Lenin and Stalin, or Mao's Cultural Revolution, or the French Revolution, or the burning of books in the Qin dynasty, or the Weimar Republic, or the banning of plays and films, or smashing statues throughout history, the lesson is always the same. Once the society starts torching art and literature for political purposes, that society is already too far down the path to tyranny. Political correctness is now leading us, hurtling us towards a new Stasi-like era of censorship and tyranny that none of us ever thought we would experience in our lives. In a very weird and bizarre coincidence, this coming Tuesday night, my documentary about how political correctness has killed off the Aussie larrikin premieres on Sky. Despite being filmed a couple of months ago, it is now more relevant than ever, and I urge you to watch it, not only for the nostalgic value and great humour of the shows that are no longer appropriate, but to ask yourself, who makes these rules? Who decides what is politically correct? The hard left? The mob? The Marxists? The ABC? The mass media? A common complaint through the show is you can't say that anymore. But why not? Are we such children that we need Big Brother to tell us what we can laugh at or not? As Voltaire wrote, it is clear that the individual who persecutes a man, his brother, because he is not of his opinion, is a monster. And the more often a stupidity is repeated, the more it gets the appearance of wisdom. I think we've seen plenty of events to illustrate both those quotes in the past fortnight. Do we carry on kowtowing to this political correctness madness? Do we carry on looking over our shoulder in case we get hauled up in front of HR for the wrong words? Do we allow them to keep purging anyone who may have uttered an inappropriate joke or sentence? Or will, as Gillian Triggs once wished, they soon be monitoring what we say around the kitchen table and punishing us for what they deem to be the wrong sort of joke? Political correctness has certainly done its best to kill off the Aussie larrikin, I can tell you that. But I can't help thinking after the events of this past week, they were only just warming up.